share something with you. Like the masses, I was in awe when I first laid eyes on all the things you are. I heard that speech. I knew we'd make noise. I just thought it'd be in the streets.
The Black Panthers are the single greatest threat to our national security. Our counterintelligence program must prevent the rise of a black messiah.
You're looking at 18 months for the stolen car, 5 years for impersonating a federal officer, or you can go home.
What do you want?
Get close to Hampton.
The Black Panthers are forming a rainbow coalition of oppressed brothers and sisters of every color.
Neutralize you.
Hey, Shalom. All praises to Yahweh Shem Yahushai by Shem Akakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who we learn this truth from. And salutations to you, true brothers, the true house of David. Because we understand the Lord is not speaking through the mouth of many men in these last days, man. The Lord did not send these men, yet they ran. And these guys are in every group. And when you look at that trailer, what the hell do you see? Esau is telling you the concept of what he can do. Now, fuck the Black Panthers and what they have to stand for, because we understand that was a psychological warfare and operation set up by the white man to push more of our people into a burning building. But when you understand the concept of what Esau is showing you, he's showing you that he can buy, he can sell anybody. You see? And what Esau can do, he can have a guy sell out and give him money. And what this guy has to do, he has to go into a group and he has to infiltrate and try to gain a certain amount of information so that he can run back to his fucking slave master Esau and give him that information. Give him the intel. Let him know what the hell is going on in that group. So with a lot of you guys are actually against the will of the Heavenly Father, because the Heavenly Father, his spirit is speaking on a lot of things in these last days. And one of them is the wicked scribes and the Pharisees, the guys that don't sold out, and the guys that were perpetrating the fraud and they're not truly sent. See, Esau the white man, he's fucked already. His New World Order is not going to stand. The King Alfred plan, all that bullshit is not going to stand. You see? All they can do is be deceived in their own carnal mind. But you wicked scribes and you Pharisees, the Lord is exposing you guys in these last days. And the brother did a beautiful video. And I want to hit it. And because we did a video on this a while back. I believe a few months back. It was last year when we hit the same thing. And I want to hit it again, because the same thing's happening in these days. When you look at the life of Yahushua and the way that he spoke this word and the way that he walked, the Lord never took the high seats. You see? The Lord, he knew the power that he had in him. So he didn't need to be recognized by no men. He didn't need no men to say you're doing a good job. But one thing that the Lord was doing, he was rebuking the fuck out of those scribes and Pharisees because of how wicked they were. See, with these guys and with these men, they sit in these high seats and they want to be praised by men. They want to be exalted by men. That's the only thing that they care for. They were not sitting in those high seats to glorify the Lord and to get our people to have a spiritual mind, to get them to the Lord. They wanted to sit in those high seats to be fucking recognized and to be praised of men. And everything that these guys did was to be seen of men. So we understand with us in these last days, we don't have a lot of guys flocking to us. Because if you have to be on a certain level. And we see that the majority of you guys, what you guys are doing is you're filtering down the words of the Heavenly Father. You don't want to teach it in the proper way. You don't want to come in the full force because you're being fucking bought and sold for. All that fame and all that clout has gotten to your head. Now you can no longer teach in the power and the strength. You see what I'm saying? And the Lord is going to destroy and judge every single last one of you guys, because you have all these guys listening to you and hearkening unto you. But then again, you're not all the way for the Lord. You're blind and you're deceiving and you're leading the majority of guys to a fucking pit. You see? And one thing about Yahushua, he said take the low. Because the scribes and the Pharisees, they sat in these high seats. And a lot of guys of our nations, they done sold out. Every single generation, they sold out. You see? With them scribes and the Pharisees, When you understand that all these guys wanted is to be saint of men, they did not give a fuck about doing the Lord's work. They didn't care about it, man. They rather sit in the high seats than actually do the work of the Lord. And when Yahushua came on the scene, he was a direct threat to these guys, because they said the Romans are gonna take away our place. We gotta get this guy the hell away, because the Romans are gonna take away our place. This guy is speaking stuff. He's fucking up what we got going on. Because with the scribe and the Pharisee, they were making merchandise of the Lord's house and temple. That's why when he went into the temple, he had to throw down everything down, man. He had to throw down. He had to whip them. You see, they were selling doves and all this crap, man. And these scribes and the Pharisees, they had to make everything on the outside look good. They had to wear the nicest robes and the nicest garments. You see, when you take it back in this modern day time, guys have a lot of subscribers. You can even buy some subscribers. Guys, they have every garment for every day of the week. They speak smooth. They don't speak in the way that Yahushua spoke. Because if they did, if the majority of these guys spoke like Yahushua spoke, they wouldn't have a lot of subscribers. Men will actually see in the spirit. Men will be in the warlike spirit. They wouldn't be in this dumbed down spirit where they're in the fucking box, where they can't go into certain things because of how man may look at them. A lot of you guys, what you're doing is, that weak ass demonic spirit that you have, it's the same spirit that's on the guys following you, where they care about how men look at them. They're not speaking this truth in the rough and austere ways that the prophets came. And a bunch of you guys are actually against the Lord. And the Lord hates every single last one of you sellouts, man. You see? Because this word has to come out. One of the major prophecies that the Lord warned us about was not just the rumors of wars and the uproars of the people. He warned us about our own people. He warned us about guys coming in the flock, not sparing the flock, heaping disciples unto themselves because they were fucking wicked. And all these guys came in this thing was for food. You see, for the carnal shit, not for the spiritual stuff. Just like the Yahushua said, the multitude followed him, not because they wanted the spiritual bread, the spiritual understanding, how to walk in the ways of the Lord, having that mercy, judgment, you see? And having that faith. They didn't care about none of that crap. They only followed the Lord because of the carnal gain. You see how they were going to eat of the loaves. A lot of guys, they come into this truth. They don't care about this spiritual side of stuff. They don't care about getting brothers to the Lord and speaking on stuff that needs to be spoken of. That's why a lot of guys, they never go into Matthew 23 and Luke 11. Why? Because they're exalted. Now the only thing that they can do, they can only keep this image. You see, they can only speak stuff that the people are going to like. You see, they're not going to come in the spirit of the Lord. Because a lot of guys were set up to lead the majority of guys to destruction, man. And that's just the truth. A lot of guys, they say we go into this too much. Well, you don't go into it too much. You see, you don't go into it enough. A lot of you guys, you're going to be destroyed because you're in the fucked up spirit. You're not teaching this thing like how I taught it, man. You're coming in a deceitful spirit. You want to be seen of men. And the Lord is not dealing with that, man. So, with the majority of our people, when Yahushua was on the scene, because the scribes and the Pharisees, they couldn't destroy him, what did they have to do? They had to get spies to go and watch what Yahushua was doing. He had spies perpetrating that they were disciples of the Lord, just to catch what he was doing and try to bring it back to headquarters. So in these times, you got men picking up the Bible, going out there to camp. They may have been in this truth 20 years, 10 years, 5 years. You see, we're at a point now where this thing ain't even about camps. It's about the righteous versus the wicked. And there's a spiritual war going on. And you got a lot of guys, they don't sold out to Esau. And these guys, they go out of camp. They say Shalom. They know all the different lingos like Shalom Mak. Because in order for you to be a good puppet, and for you to blend in, you have to know all the lingos around. So these guys, they know what to say, how to act. You see, when they go out there, they know all the scriptures. But then when camp ends, these guys are running back to Esau. And they're giving Esau all the information. And all you spies and all you sellouts, you're going to be fucking judged. Because you're not going to escape. That's why we're not loved, man. That's why we're not loved. Because we're bringing this thing out. And we bring it out raw, man. So let me grab this. We're going to read certain scriptures about what happened with Yahushua. And why a lot of guys in this truth, they're not speaking the words of the Lord, and they're coming in a deceitful spirit, because a lot of guys sold out. So this is John chapter 11 and verse 46. It says, "Then many of the Jews which came to Mary and had seen the things which Yahushua did believed on him." All right, Yahushua, he had a few people believe on him that actually wanted to learn. So it says, "But some of them went their ways to the Pharisees and told them what things Yahushua has done." So these are the guys, they were standing there and they would watch Yahushua. You see, they would act like they were actually listening, but when they left, they went and told it. Just like you got guys now, they come with these videos and they watch, but then they're going. A lot of you guys, you just love to have men around you. You don't even know this guy's a spy, or agent. This guy's set up by the FBI. You bask in the numbers. You see, what we're doing is we're getting you brothers to another level of discernment, another perspective of this truth. Because a lot of you guys will never touch up on these things, and you love to go into Esau all goddamn day. But that's fine. We're gonna go into these topics. Cause we see it cuts and it offends a lot of you guys, and that's a beautiful thing. Cause a lot of you guys ain't fucking right. So it says, "But some of them went to their ways to the Pharisees and told them what things that Yahushua has done. Then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees a council and said, 'What do we? For this man doeth miracles.'" So this is what the hell we gonna do. You know, if we leave this guy alone, he's gonna do all these miracles. Yahushua, he did so many miracles it couldn't be contained in the book. And he wasn't famous because he was a clout chasing Israelite. He was famous because the power and the way that he spoke, you see, it condemned the scribes and the Pharisees. He didn't come to be exalted. He came to speak the words of his Father. So it says, "Then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees a council and said, 'What do we? For this man doeth many miracles, and if we will let him thus alone, all men will believe on him, and the Romans shall come and take away our place and nation.'" So all these guys cared about was their place. They didn't give a fuck about what the Lord wanted to do. That's why you got guys now, and we're going to keep on saying it until we get the hell up out of here. A lot of guys are teaching for their subscribers. A lot of guys being bought and sold for. You see? A lot of guys, they just crept up in this truth. And these guys, what they're doing is, their job is to gather all the undesirables, all the wicked to themselves. Because the majority of these guys are not in the spirit any damn way. They're only looking at this thing like the numbers, to lead many to destruction. Recognize what the Lord is doing in these last days, man. Esau's being exposed. So what's left to be exposed? The wicked scribe and Pharisees, the ones that crept up unawares, the false brethren, you see, the false disciples. Because when Yahushua was given up, it wasn't Esau that came up and gave Yahushua up. It was Judas Iscariot, the guy that got paid to give Yahushua up. And you got guys like that. You got guys that just go to camp and then they just get a lot of information and they go back to Esau. We're dealing with demons, scumbags, pieces of shit. We're dealing with all these type of spirits in this truth, man. Wicked demonic spirits. You gotta understand, we're living in the most demonic time in history, in Babylon the Great. And Esau, he has his hand in everything, man. Every single thing. So you can't be ignorant in a matter small or great. This part of the truth has to come out. A lot of you guys are sweeping the house, but in that dark little corner where it has all that dust and all those little particles, you don't want to sweep it. Because when you sweep those areas, you're gonna get hated. Because what you're gonna see is a lot of guys are not about the Lord, they're only about their own bellies. You see what I'm saying? But we're given the opportunity to do this work in the way that we do it, and we love it, man. We love it. We love it because we see we're having an effect. And if you're not having no effect, nobody really hates you, man, then you're not a man of the Lord, man. Because all the prophets, they had many enemies, and the enemies were of their own nations. You see? So many guys in these last days, man, just like that trailer showed, Judas and the Black Messiah, which we understand where Esau is getting at. Many guys are Judas Iscariot in these last days, man. There's not just one antichrist. You have many anti-anointeds in these major camps. And they're using these camps to hide. And they understand that the majority of you guys are not going to say shit. You're not going to bring out scriptures to condemn these guys because you guys are a part of that bullshit. You love to be admired. You love to be in those high seats. You see? You will never speak against these guys. So when these time comes and you two get shut down and Esau comes in with great wrath, a lot of you guys are going to be given up by these reprobates that sold out. And these guys, they're here. As the brother said, the prophets are here, but these spies and these false anointed and these deceitful men, they're back here today. Philippians chapter 3 and verse 18. You see, we love the righteous and we hate the wicked, man. What did the Lord say? Love the good and hate the evil. A lot of you guys are fucking backward. You love the evil and you hate the good. You see? Philippians 3 and 18. For many walk, of whom I have told you often and now tell you even weeping, that they are enemies of the cross of the anointed. So these guys, they were going to have a form of godliness. They were going to have certain camp titles. They were going to have the subscribers. They were going to know the scriptures. But deep inside their heart, they were going to be fucking black. And deep inside their mind, they were only going to be doing this thing to be seen of men, for the money, all right, for the praises of men. And a lot of these guys, they're doing it because Esau is paying them off in the background. It says, whose end is destruction, so they're not going to escape. Whose God is their belly, and whose glory is in their shame, who mind earthly things. So these guys, they mind earthly things. They mind how they can be seen. See, when you're in the spirit, you don't give a fuck about that. That's why the spirit, where the spirit is not where everybody's going to be. Because where everybody's going to be is where Satan's going to be. You see? Because everybody is in this fucked up spirit where they want to be seen of men. And they're teaching the Lord's truth. They're not bringing it out. See, you can teach the Lord's truth, but how are you teaching it? How are you teaching it? That's what really matters. That's how the Lord is looking at. Because we see in these last days, anybody can just put on a garment and they can go to camp. But then nobody's going to say shit. Nobody's going to really examine these guys. Because everybody's in that same demonic spirit, man. But it says, whose end is destruction, whose God is their belly, and whose glory is in their shame, who mind earthly things. So we're giving you, brothers, more of a discerning mind. Because we don't have anybody around us, and that's good. The few brothers that I have, that's all I need. You see? And we're looking in there, we can actually see all the corruption. But we actually are giving you brothers that may be in there. And you see, the spirit is telling you something. You know, you got to follow the spirit, man. Sometime where the spirit is not where the majority of guys are going to be. You got to make that spiritual decision because this is life and death. And many guys have chosen death because they have made a covenant with death, which is Esau. Because guys, they really want to stay here. You get what I'm saying? So this is Proverbs chapter 28 and verse 21. It says to have a respect of persons is not good. This is why the Lord said don't have a respect of persons. Because guys, they can be bought and sold for. It says for a piece of bread, that man will transgress. You see, it don't even have to be a whole loaf. It can be a piece of bread or some crumbs. And this guy will transgress. You see, Esau can come to this guy and say, I want you to do this. That's why now you get the answers of why guys don't go into certain stuff. Why guys are lukewarm. You see, why guys takes days off. Why guys run to the forest. Why guys are not teaching about certain things. Because why? Because for a piece of bread, that man will transgress. You see, it don't take that much to buy a nigga, man. It don't take that much. You see, and Esau knows that. Esau knows that. Esau knows the true ones that cannot be bought and sold for, and he sees all you fakes and you phonies. That's why Esau don't fuck with you guys, man. He don't fuck with your channels. Because why? Because you're not in the spirit. You don't really love the Lord. You see, you're a fucking clown that crept in unawares, and the Lord's going to destroy your ass. And the thing is, all you guys are back here today. Every single last one of you guys. So this is Jude chapter 1 and verse 4. For there are certain men crept in unawares, who were before of old ordained to this condemnation, ungodly men, turning the grace of our power into lasciviousness and denying the only power in our Lord Hamashiach Yahushai. So these guys, they crept in unawares. So when you infiltrate something, what do you have to do? You have to make your way to the highest seat, because you know when you're in that high seat, you have the influence over the people, because you understand the people are looking at you. So then what you can do is you can push a wicked vibration. You can teach the scriptures, but you can teach it in a fucked up way, where the people, the only thing they're gonna be looking at is not really the spirit of the Lord and how the Lord truly came. They're gonna be looking at all this other stuff, man. And we see these things happening in all these camps. Every camp, man. It's not just one camp. It's not just ISUPK. You see what I'm saying? It says, I will therefore put you in remembrance. Don't you once knew this, how the Lord, having saved the people out of the land of Egypt, afterward destroyed them that believe not. Now I want to get that word for crept in. So the word for crept in, it says to enter secretly, to slip in stealthily, to steal in, to creep in unawares. All right? To lodge stealthily. That's why we have guys teaching wayward doctrines, saying 2/3 can make it. All Israel is black. You see? Saying that you have to say E and not Esau. Saying the mark of the beast is not the RFID chip. You see? All these different guys, they're in this truth. But you got to be aware of this, man. When we do these videos, we do it so that you got this discernment and your spirit can go up on a whole nother level. You see? It's all about growing in the Lord, man, and really discerning the time that we're living in. We're not living in a time where it was 5 years ago. Everything is heightened up in the spirit. You know, and Satan, he's roaming about. That he has bought and sold a lot of these guys. But the Lord, what he had to do, he had to really put the spirit on man to speak on these things in these last days. You see, so that they could save a few men, so that they can increase the spirit in a few men to actually see this thing how it is, and not how a lot of guys are teaching it. So beware, man. Really beware who you're around, who you're watching. It don't matter if they have a camp name. You really discern what spirit are coming in, because a lot of guys, they're not of the Lord, they're against the Lord, and they're with Esau, man. John chapter 12 and verse 4. Now let's take a look at a trait of Judas. Then said one of his disciples, Judas Iscariot, Simeon's son, which shall betray him, why was not this ointment sold for 300 pence and given to the poor? Then said he, it says this he said, not that he cared for the poor, but because he was a thief and had the bag and bare what was put therein. You see that? So he said, why was not this ointment? Because Mary, she was anointing Yahweh's body so that he could get put on that cross. But Judas, he was feigning like he really cared about the ointment. Oh, why you wasting the ointment? But he didn't care about that. He didn't care about Yahweh, none of that. He only cared about how much money he could make based off the ointment. So that's one thing to watch too. If a guy's all about the money, where the money is, that's where he is. But where the work of the Lord is, he's nowhere to be found. You really got to consider that, man. You see? You really got to consider that. Because many false deceivers and many guys have sold out in these last days, man. And the thing is, a lot of you guys, you try what I seen in this video. I seen this guy going to, we know there are spies, we know there are agents, we know these things already. No, the fuck you don't. You see? Because the thing about you is, you're a clout hungry motherfucker. You only care about clout. You see? But you have all these subscribers though. You see? And the Lord is gonna judge your ass, man. I'm telling you. A lot of guys, what's happening now is guys try to act like they're really against the wicked, and that's another thing to watch out for. You see, but then deep down in the back of their mind, they're not really against the wicked, man. They have to put on a front. I'm gonna go ahead and end off on this. I pretty much got the point, man. It's all about having that discerning spirit and be able to discern who's in the spirit and who's not. Because a lot of guys that have been exalted are not in the spirit, man. Psalms 41 and verse 9. It says, yeah, my own familiar friend, in whom I trusted, which did eat of my bread, has lifted up his heel against me. So this is a Psalm of David that he was saying about Yahushua. It says, but thou, O Lord, be merciful unto me, and raise me up, that I may requite them. By this I know that thou favorest me, because my enemy does not triumph over me. So all you guys that have taken the purse, you sold out, you know, your enemies against the true ones of the Lord, you're all going to be destroyed. Every single last one of you guys. Though hand joining hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished. Because you can have your own ruling multitude. The Lord won't give a fuck about that. The Lord only looks at the true men of the Lord are teaching his thing in the strength and in the power, man. But that's one thing to look for. You know, trying the spirits, man, really discerning who's in the spirit of the Lord and who's not. Because everybody in these last days, they know the name of the Lord. They can put on a garment. But really test who's about the Lord and who's not, man. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and end off on there. All praises to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. It's going to be on to the next one. Death to you wicked niggas out there, man. And you sellouts. But peace and blessing to you true brothers. We do this thing for you brothers that truly believe, man. Because we actually love this thing. They stay strong. And we're almost out of here. Shalom.